conference at WHO, and we'll be discussing the role of value assessment for medical technologies and diagnostics in a pandemic public health situation. Abdullah, why don't you take it away?
Hello, everybody. Thanks for the magnificent ideas that we mentioned before my presentation. And let me take the perspective of policy analysis and also the perspective of what governments and non-governmental situation can help and do in this situation. And I will start my presentation with a WHO newsletter about medical devices, which was published in last April 22 in the beginning of pandemic. And I'm just confirming about some highlights and some major items. Like once confirming a good quality, we should make a very effort to ensure the following: availability, accessibility, appropriate and affordable to those who need our products. And also I will take some examples about ratio of tests at high income countries and comparing this to ratio for tests for low middle income countries. And if you see in this situation, high income countries had a predictive policy and efficient and effective use of tests, which enhancement its capacity for management the pandemic. And this case was delayed in the low middle income countries, and we are working on this data now in my team about what is the conclusion for this, and I will support you for the final analysis for this. And this takes us to another meaning for what is the impact of tests and medical devices for providing health service effectively. And we make a comparativeness between low and middle income countries and Germany. Why Germany? Because Germany was one of the leading countries in the European region for using tests in the predictive and protection and predictive methods, and how the three elements, planning and managing and maintaining essential service, has an impact for providing health service effectively. This leads us to trying to answer the following questions. One of the questions is how can governmental organizations, national governments and international and pan-international bodies help to provide a framework for more efficient decisions and allocation for resources in a pandemic emergency? And second question is, how should these organizations receive feedback from local procurement? Actually, I'm working with the government every day. I have my team for policy analysis for COVID especially, and I will give you my experience from the field, from the feedback, and I met it in some bullets under the phrase of enhancement of value assessment for process for medical devices. We need to enhancement the process. And to enhancement the process, firstly, we need to make a regulatory and HTE alignment process for devices with respect to data required, because sometimes this alignment doesn't happen, or doesn't happen in the right time, or doesn't happen with the right person. This is leading to delaying the process. Number two, harmonize the value assessment framework for devices across international HTA agencies, because I found that there is no harmonization, or a little bit a lack of harmonization of value assessment, and the framework should be clear and accessible and implementable and easy for anyone who wants to use this framework. If he doesn't has its qualifications or the capacity for HTA bodies, for example, in low and middle income countries, they don't have this capacity. So we need the harmonization, because this harmonization will reflect how other countries can use this harmonization. And conditional coverage and evidence development decision should be assessed, and this is very important. If we don't have this assessment with a clear values and a clear key performance indicator, we will not have this closing the gaps between governmental and non-governmental parties. Consider likely prospectus for researchers who should pay for it, like my colleagues talking about prioritization, the right product with the right price at with the right and affordable prices. Consider the challenges arising from user experience, future pricing changes, patient eligibility, user dependent study design, and rapid evaluation of the technology, and also considering the new ways for data collection, like real world data. All these consideration should be, and my experience not should be, it must be put in an accessible and adaptable framework, could be implemented for others. And I think this is the role of our group and other groups who is interested for this. And the last point for my recommendation is developing initiative and innovative approaches for finance and payment, because from my experience and communicating with other countries, sometimes they doesn't know the experience how to implement risk sharing agreement or entry management agreement, or many countries doesn't implement the public-private partnership yet initiatives. And this is a framework, my recommended framework, effective framework for how public-private partnership can be implemented. And this is my recommendation. And I want to mention that the new value equation in healthcare it's a multiple points, starting with superior outcome, with patient-centered care, with efficiency at low cost. This is a new equation for value, and this is what payers like to hear from service provider or from industry, about how to achieve all these four blocks. And we should trying to make the bridge between payers and industry and also service provider, how to achieve this and how to make a framework and acceptable and practical framework for this. I have finished my ideas about my presentation, and for Gutika, for any questions you need or any data about how countries making their decision. And during this pandemic, I have updated every 1 hour. I can give you updated how countries making this strategy. Thank you for hearing my presentation, and I'm opening for any questions you want. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdullah. I appreciate that, and thank you all the panelists for your time.